Welcome to another episode of the Creative Power Hour. I'm your host, Marcus Whitney, and my guest today is Stone Cold Austin Hulsey. What's up, man? You too, man. You too. All right, so the deal here is where we start with the origin story. You've got a great one. Let's jump in.
Oh, yeah. So I'm the CEO and founder of NutriFitt. We're a high-performance natural supplement company founded here in Nashville, Tennessee. Started the business back in 2013 in high school. I'm at college at TSU. I majored in nutrition and dietetics, minor in chemistry while I was there, and come up with the idea for my own company when I really started getting more knowledge on nutrition and the things that were in the supplement market. And just all the ingredients I didn't really put into my body more. Because as a younger guy, you know, the whole thing was, let's get as big as possible. Let's take all this shit. Let's take everything we can.
Right.
Got past that when I realized how stupid that was. And at the time, I was real big into climbing. So I was bouldering, climbing Nashville here off of Charlotte, and was looking to create something to help my endurance. So being that I worked in the food science department over there at TSU, I had access to a whole lot of equipment and food science machines that I wouldn't have had access to anywhere else.
Right.
So I really just started doing the research, man, working with a lot of the biochemists over there, the food scientist, Dr. Chen, awesome guy, a lot of the dietitians on staff, and, man, just ran with it. So it was started with $100 to my name at the time.
Wow.
I remember buying things in bulk, you know, a little bit at a time to get the things I wanted to test, and just went from there. Learned how to use the machine, learned how to formulate, learned how to get flavors and colors correctly. And I tell people, you know, it's funny because it took me from 2013 when I started until 2017, the month after I graduated, until I officially launched the company. So it took that long bootstrapping this, from branding to creating labels to development to finding a manufacturer to going through all the legality of it. Like, people just don't know, if you do shit the right way, it takes a while.
Yeah, that's right. Especially shit people are going to put in their bodies.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is like no joke.
That's extremely important, you know, especially if you're creating stuff for other people. And, you know, I make a joke of it. You know, when I was first creating some of these products, I had friends that were guinea pigs, and some friends that are, you know, that I would send stuff to. And a buddy of mine, he's also a podcaster. I sent him some pre-workout, and at the time I had like a real high dose of an ingredient that's in our pre-workout, and I told him, I was like, hey, you might want to start with half a scoop of this. This is only like the second batch I've ever like formulated. Yeah. He's like, no, he's like, I take stuff all the time. It's good. And he calls me on a run, and he FaceTimed me, and he said, man, I feel like a hot tamale right now. He's like, I'm itching, my skin is red. He's like, what's in that stuff? I said, I told you half a scoop, man. But it's funny, you know. It was a learning process, and I tell people, you know, I made some really disgusting shit for like the first year figuring this stuff out. But I mean, I would loved it, you know, learning how to do all of this and creating my own product line, and it started with 2 products, and now we're up close to 10 in our line. So it's amazing. So
NutriFitt. So I was introduced to NutriFitt really through Kevin Bazil, right? Yep. Who is a good friend of mine. He really was my trainer, and now we're more like friends who train together. We do a lot of mobility work together. But you know, the reason why he recommended the products to me was because he said, you know, I'm lactose intolerant. There's a lot of these things I can't take, and this is a clean product, and you know, I can take it. It doesn't mess my stomach up, and that really resonated with me because I'm similar. I have a lot of sort of sensitivities from a dairy perspective and things like that. And so, you know, and lo and behold, like I started using the product, and it was awesome. I had really no side effects. So talk a little bit about, like, you know, your philosophy, the principles around, you know, how you formulate this product, and why it's different from other products that are out there.
Yeah, and that was, you know, meeting Kevin that first time. I remember it was awesome. He told me about the issues he was having, and being that our protein that we currently carry is a whey product, so it is dairy based. he was concerned, and I told him, I was like, Kevin, just try it. Like, I'm gonna give you something to try.
Yeah.
Like, trust me. And if it doesn't work for you, and there's only been, I'm not gonna say it's perfect for everybody.
Right.
There's a couple people, if they have like extreme dairy, if they're allergic to it or
Right.
food allergies, you need to stay away from it.
Yeah.
But sometimes sensitivities are caused by certain proteins or certain sugars that's found in dairy can be an issue for some people. So with our protein, it's the purest whey isolate that you can possibly get.
Okay.
So from a lactose standpoint, it's basically, lactose free. So you don't have to worry about
So real quick, you just said an important word,
Yeah.
or important combination of words: whey isolate, and not all whey is isolate. Correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a bunch of different.
Let's go into that for a second.
Yeah. There's a bunch of different forms of whey. If you look on a protein label, I mean, some proteins will have 3 or 4 different kinds of whey.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll have whey protein concentrate. Sometimes you'll see peptides.
Right. So I was just listening to a show where they were talking about whey concentrate versus whey isolate.
Right.
And that the I'm going to oversimplify, okay, because I'm dumb at this stuff. But like the whey concentrate, bad, because it has lots of things that make it difficult to digest effectively. And the whey isolate, good. What's the deal there between the concentrate and the isolate?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's bad. I think it can be bad for certain people, but from a quality standpoint, from a digestibility standpoint, from a bioavailability standpoint, when we're talking like absorption, isolate is far superior than concentrate ever will be. It's just not as pure. It's not as easy to digest. There's still parts of the milk product to the dairy product that's in concentrate. So there's more like fat solids.
Okay.
There's more lactose. So it can cause an issue for people. A lot of proteins that you hear people say, it gives me bloating, it gives me gas, it upsets my stomach, it makes me feel nauseous. I can guarantee you 99% of the time that protein has concentrate in it.
Right.
So that's has become an issue for people. So I wanted, when I was formulating this, and I had problems with it too. I remember back in the day taking certain proteins, and you'll fart all day long.
Right.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
So I was like, I want to really make something that anybody can take. And it's been amazing to have people not be able to use protein powders come to me and be like, yours is the only one that I can use. And I've tried 15 or 16 different products. Mm-hmm. And it's just because of the purity. And, there's a lot of companies, there's a lot of products on the market that say, well, it's the cleanest protein on the market. We're the purest protein on the market. And when you really learn how to read a nutrition label, you can
see pretty quickly.
You can see pretty quickly if they're telling the truth or not.
Yeah.
So, and I wanted to create a product that was completely transparent, where someone could look at the label and be like, okay, that's in it. I know what that is.
Right.
I can see what type of protein it is. I can look at it and tell how much ratio is in there, because sometimes even there could be like a pure whey isolate powder. It can be like a lower percentage. Mm-hmm. So where you're only getting, say, like 70% protein per scoop instead of around 90, which is where it should be. Okay.
All right. There's a lot there, man.
I know, man.
No. It's good though. I told you I wanted to geek out on this stuff a little bit, just because, look, if someone's listening to this episode right now, and they don't use protein powder at all, they probably learn more about it than they ever wanted to learn, right? But I think anyone who's been in or around a gym and has aspired to develop their muscles has heard, hey, you really should take a protein supplement, in and around your workout. And I think from there, it's just this big broad world of a million different products, and very, very difficult to tell what's what. Your approach to making it clear, making it easy to sort of understand what's in there. What things are you not putting in that are in many other products? And then after that, I want to ask a business question about that, which is, how much harder does that make it to make that product, right? Because I think for those of us who aren't in the food world, right, we hear that one of the reasons why all these fillers keep getting put into products is because it's more expensive to make things. Like the better food is more expensive, basically, right? And so first start by saying, this is what we don't have in that many other products do, and then talk a little bit about what are the business ramifications out there for us as consumers.
Okay, Yeah, so what we don't do, and this was from day one when I really started creating the protein, this is what I'm talking about, is almost over 90% of the proteins on the market use artificial sweeteners, artificial flavors, sometimes artificial colors, and they'll use thickening agents.
Okay.
Well, sometimes certain thickening agents can also cause issues with your digestion or your gastrointestinal system.
Okay. And why are they using a thickening agent? To give it the shake-like thing when you mix it with
kind
milk?
of, and it adds volume to product. It's a filler.
It's a filler.
They're just fillers. So, when I was going back to like how much protein are you getting per scoop. So if you're buying a 2-pound protein of our product, just pure whey isolate, no thickeners, none of the other additives, and they have a 2-pound. So they're adding more, ingredients to it. So you're not getting as much pure protein.
Now I get what you meant when you said the 70% versus 90%, right?
Yeah,
it's like for the same weight, you're getting less of the good stuff.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just for example, like on our product, Whey,
it's like cutting drugs, man.
Pretty much. Like cutting coke with what? Inositol?
Yeah, right. I mean, like that's nuts. Okay, good.
So so like for our product, for example, we have 25 grams of pure whey isolate per scoop.
Okay.
It takes 27.5 grams of the whey isolate we use to yield 25 grams of pure protein.
Okay.
So you can do the math on that, and you can tell it's a high percentage of protein you're getting per scoop.
Right. Got it.
It's really high.
Got it.
Compared to some of the others, and that was one of the reasons. I was like, I was tired of the shit.
Right.
I was tired of the bullshit. Tired of the marketing that you would see in the magazines for products. Claiming this is the best, and you take it, and you don't.
How did you know? How did you know that there was just a general trend in the industry that was screwing people over? Like what?
Man, I think I just over time I realized it. I mean, I worked in the industry. The first job I ever had was at a vitamin shop.
Okay,
so I learned a lot about nutrition there. Learned to read labels and could look and see what was in things. That was in the time back to when I didn't really care what I was taking, but that I built that knowledge base for when I actually started building up my company. I knew what I didn't want to have and what I did.
Yep.
So we don't put that in any of our products, not just our protein. We use anything artificial sweeteners, colors, flavors, additives, thickeners, none of that shit.
Okay.
I think from a wellness standpoint, from a health standpoint, anybody who's in fitness or they're trying to change their life, you want to stay away from that stuff as much as possible.
Yep.
And if it's something you're taking on a daily basis or 3 to 5 times a week, why do you want to be putting that stuff in your body?
Right.
If you're changing your lifestyle, change your lifestyle.
Right.
So the goal was to create something that was clean, was the cleanest product on the market. And that was extremely hard. I mean, from back into the business ramifications, finding the source for such a pure protein took 8 months. It took 8 months of getting samples, seeing certificate of analysis on these. And eventually we ended up sourcing our protein from a private farm in Ireland.
Wow.
From grass-fed cows. So
wow.
That's where our whey isolate comes from.
So you had to look all over the world. I mean, is that basically what I'm hearing?
Yeah. And it's the way it's processed matters too. It's like if it's keeping certain factors in the protein like immunoglobulins and lactoferrin, things that help with the immune system function. And they're, low temp process, microfiltered is the protein that we use too. So there's no high temperature process like killing certain aspects or degrading the protein because that happens.
Yep.
And, I went a step further in this, added digestive enzymes, which helps people digest, even if there is virtually no lactose in whey. Some people are like hypersensitive, like you said, sensitivity. So we put that digestive enzyme in there just as a precaution and just to help with the digestion of if there's any, milk sugars present.
Right.
And then I went and added a probiotic complex to this as well. And me and you've talked prior as to why I've done this. And this, all of these things make a product more expensive.
Are you willing to talk about the probiotic and why?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll get there.
Because I think this is actually pretty important.
Yeah, I'll get there. And all of these things make a product more expensive. So
the
higher quality source, the adding this, flavoring it naturally is extremely harder than using sucralose or what some people call Splenda, because you can take anything and put, and the doses that a lot of these products have at sucralose or Splenda are insane. I mean, you're looking at anywhere from the low end 50 up to 250, 300 milligrams when a packet of it has 12.5 milligrams of sucralose. So think how much chemical sweetener you're dumping into your system with one drink. So, I was like, let's go another route with this. What can we do? And it took months and months and months and months to get the flavor profiles to where they are. And, the science is getting better to where the flavors are getting better. Production of these are getting better with natural flavors and sweeteners, which is awesome. Because that's a big thing. Everybody's so used to super sweet taste for supplements because that's just how it's been for forever. So all those things go into making your product more expensive, making it take longer to create, making it take longer to hit the market. I mean, anybody can go and find a pre-made product, slap a private label on it. And put it on
I
the
was
shelf.
just about to go there, man, because I was just about to go there because, Tim Ferriss, when he released the book, The 4-Hour Work Week, one of the case studies in there is about, sort of basically a supplement, right? You know what I mean? That he found and marketed. And there's so many people out there doing that kind of thing, just a drop shipping marketing kind of play. And one of the reasons why I just think your story is so interesting is because you went to school for this. You formulated, like, this is legit what you do, right? You're not just like finding some product and endorsing it. You know what I mean?
And I've had people ask me that, Marcus, they'll be like, oh, like you made those products? You own that company? I'm like, yeah. And they were like, oh, I thought you were just like a reseller, like for like a, MLM company. I'm like, hell no.
Right.
It took years to do this.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't sign up underneath somebody and pay $500. Like, I, sacrificed for a long time.
I love that
to make this happen.
I love that so much. How many? What does your industry look like at your scale, right? So some analogies I think about is kind of like craft brewing, for example, right? You know what I mean? It feels like that industry has really sort of exploded around the country. What's the size of the market? Let's just say in America right now of men and women like you who are entrepreneurs, but are also like craft people, you know what I mean? And like, formulators. I mean, like really creating, inventing new products. Yeah,
man, I think it's blowing up, especially in the entrepreneur field. I think there's a whole lot of creative people, not necessarily in the supplement industry, but there are some there, and the industry is continually growing. Supplement industry. I mean, it's $1 billion industry, and there's new companies coming out every single day.
So let's just break that down real quick. Yep. So when you say it's a $1 billion industry, what's a $1 billion industry?
The supplement industry.
The entire supplement industry is $1 billion today.
Yeah, over that. I don't know the exact number, but it's billions.
Yeah, because I was gonna say that feels kind of small. Like I think it could be bigger than that. It has to be somewhat bigger than that, right?
Oh yeah, I'd have to look it up, but I think it's way up there.
Okay, and growing. I feel like it's
80,
growing.
80, 90, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
it is growing.
Okay, I feel like it's growing.
It is growing.
Okay,
it's growing. So yeah, I mean, I forgot to touch on the probiotics.
Yeah, please, because I think that's a
so
an incredible story.
Back to the whole market saturation we were talking about.
Yep.
When you go into a store and there's 60 different protein jugs, you're like, what? Most people don't know what to take or what to do. And it's like, what was I going to do to set it apart? Yeah, of course it's clean, it's naturally sweetened and flavored, but like, what else? And starting this company the whole time, Marcus, one of the things that drove me was that I had young children. I was a father, and I wanted to be a success. I wanted to be a role model for them and show them what you can actually do, and you put in hard work and you go after what you believe in and what you're passionate about. So when I was creating the protein, like I said, there's 3 different strains of probiotics in there that they're the most studied strains of probiotics ever. The most medical studies done on them. and the reason I used these 3 was because when my daughter she wasn't 2 yet. She was just under 2. She come down with C. diff, which is an infection of her intestinal tract. And then it was from a side effect of amoxicillin. The antibiotics kill all the good bacteria. So she went to the doctor. They put her on Flagyl, and she took it for, I think, a month. Symptoms kind of went away. Then like a week later, they came back, flared up even worse. And they put her on it again, same thing. Then they wanted to give her another drug, and they were like, well, this is like the strongest antibiotic that there is, and it could possibly kill her. And I'm sitting here, as a first time father, I'm like freaking out, like, damn, what am I going to do? So I just was reaching out to everybody I knew that was in the medical field, and came across a friend who's a pharmacist, actually. He said, I told him what was going on. He said, come see me like right now. So I drove to his place, saw him, and he told me that his granddaughter had been going through the same thing. And he was like, I've got something, I'm just going to give it to you. I'm not even going to make you buy it. He's like, I'm going to give it to you. There's probiotics. He's like, give her 5 to 10 of these a day if you can. Put them in like formula, milk, applesauce, whatever you can to get them in her. And he's like, I'm telling you, within a week, she'll be fine. So we done that at the time. I give her like 10 capsules of that a day and anything I could. And within 4 days, like C. diff makes like a child's stomach explode, basically. I mean, they look like they're a starved child.
Yeah, right.
In a third world country. It's terrible.
Right.
And within 4 days, her stomach was completely back to normal. Like, no issues. And I extended that for a month. And so I saw how powerful they were.
Right.
And I really contributed that to saving her life. Because, I mean, that's a condition that you'll die from. I mean, the bacteria will eat through your intestines, and you basically become septic and you're done.
That's it.
So, I was thinking about my kids while I was making this, and then I added those into the mix as just a reminder of why I was doing it, so I never lost focus of what's most important, which was helping people and health and wellness. So, every time, I still tell people today, every time that I sell one of those or ship one of those, I think back about why I created it, and it's awesome to see that someone in California is buying something that I created in a lab in 2013 with just an idea.
Yeah, and that, the formula is in part inspired by, something that saved your daughter's life. I mean, that's awesome. That's like chills, man. That's incredible. Yeah, so just maybe a little bit more about the probiotics that are in your protein. How common is that for a protein powder to have probiotics mixed in it?
It's not common, especially in the sports nutrition sector. Now, when you get into more of like organic proteins or vegan proteins, you'll see probiotic blends and things.
And those are things like you might see it like a whole body, right?
A whole body, like for example, like Garden of Life blends. Some of their proteins will have them. So it's more common in the more of the vegan sector, than it is sports nutrition.
But in the sports nutrition, which is where your product plays.
That's where we play. Yeah,
that's where you play.
No, but at the same time, it's that's what sets you apart. What makes you different.
Yeah, that's right.
What else are you doing? And the whole sports nutrition, bodybuilding. I mean, for an athlete standpoint, you want to do everything you can do to be your best.
Yep.
You're constantly pushing yourself. And I was at the time, being a father, going through a divorce in college, with no money, and trying to finish school, which at the time when I went through all that, I almost dropped out. But I'm like, I can't.
That's awesome, man.
I can't. So I pushed through, done it, and then still trying to stay active and healthy. It's like you can't.
It's hard.
You can't sacrifice your nutrition for anything.
Right.
So you got to do whatever you got to do to get to be your best. And sometimes that takes, if it takes spending a little extra money on something that's better for your health, man up and do it. Like, don't go out every weekend and party.
Right. Don't
go screwing around, drinking.
Right. Every
weekend with your buddies.
Right.
And keep your ass in the house and, focus on what's most important.
Amen. So we've known each other for a little while now. It's a little over a year, right?
Yeah.
And if I do say so myself, I think we've both improved our health
Absolutely.
since then.
Yeah.
You look better.
Yeah. You definitely look better
than you did. Thank you. I've been working on it. NutriFitt's been part of making that happen. So thank you. Talk a little bit about the connection between sort of what you just talked about, man, because that's kind of my life right now, right? My life right now is not going out. My wife and I will go out to dinner, or we're going to a comedy show on Friday. You know what I mean? But I'm not going out like I used to at all. And I'm at the moment I'm still sort of on a moratorium from drinking, and I am spending a little bit more on the good stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's supplements or quality of food, or like ordering stuff from that website Perfect Keto that I just gave you a bar of. It's like
Those bars are great.
Those bars are good, man.
Have to come out with something like that.
Yeah, they're good, man. And like so just one thing that I've been really spending a ton of time thinking about lately, and talking to my therapist about, and reading about and watching YouTube videos, is just the connection between the body and mental health, but also performance, right? And just how much we don't live in our bodies, right? You know what I mean? And it's like when we're just working and doing the things that we got to do, and then the going out and sort of all that stuff, like yes, we wake up and we get in the shower and we walk around and we get in a car and we drive, but those things are all like automatic things. Like the minute you ask somebody who's like not being active to do 100 jumping jacks, then you find out how little they're living in their body, and like the connection between that and their life, like the real stuff in their life that really, really matters. Like what have you found over the last year? I mean, through this entire journey, right? But I mean, let's just talk about the last year. You know what I mean? Like you've really, tightened up in a bunch of areas. How has that impacted your life, man?
There's no way that I'd be sitting here today if I hadn't have figured that out. Back even when I'd started this in 2013 with, I went through a lot of shit.
Yep.
To make this happen.
I can relate.
Just with relationships and the sacrifice, actually cutting people out of my life.
Yep.
I'll stop going out, stop hanging out. I have a couple best friends from high school I still talk to, a couple times a week, but it's like I haven't seen them in 6 or 7 months.
Yeah.
It's just because I'm so focused on getting to where I want to go that stuff doesn't even matter to me anymore. And it really takes some soul searching to find yourself when you've lived outside yourself for so long. It's a difficult.
Isn't that the truth, man?
It's a truth, and it's difficult and it's hard, and you'll fight it for a long time until you really, once you get to a point to you really start seeing the changes that are being made, and sometimes you don't even realize how much of a leap that you've made until like someone will bring it to your attention.
Yeah.
You'll be 6 months in and you'll still be like, damn, I want to go out, or I'm sucking, but it's like you have to look how far you've come.
Yeah.
And when you have the right people in your circle surrounding you and they're being like, you're kicking ass right now.
Right.
That helps too. So I think having people that have the same mindset as you helps you get there.
Mm-hmm.
And then back into the whole brain body connection too. You have to just it's not an easy thing to do.
No.
It takes a lot of work, a lot of time. There's a lot of people that make it look easy.
Yeah.
It might be for some people, but it sure as hell wasn't easy for me.
Yep.
And I still work on it every single day. Even that my business has become successful, I still deal with doubt.
Yeah.
I still deal with things. It's not that just because you see someone that's doing something or they're thriving in one area doesn't mean that they might have an issue in other words. Just like we were talking about mental health. Like, man, I suffer from anxiety and have for years. And at times it got to the point to where I was just crippled from it.
Yeah.
And I've had to learn how to manage that and how to use that as a tool in my life. I mean, that's with anything. What do you use, like a setback or a failure or anxiety? You either let it mold you or it's going to break you. And, sometimes you have to reach out to other people for help too, and that's a big thing when you're actually kind of getting in the right spot, realizing that sometimes you just can't do everything yourself.
That's right.
You have to let go and be like, hey, I need some help.
Yep.
And it's okay.
Yep. That's why I reached out to Dez. Because I need some help. Well, yeah, man. Thanks for sharing about that, man. I mean, for me, it's a daily thing, man. You know what I mean? It's every single day, waking up. It starts with some amount of gratitude for just what it means to wake up and actually feel connected. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Feel like I'm really here.
That's important. That's something that I also found too that was really helped me have more of a positive outlook, not just on like life, but business and relationships and everything in general. Is the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is to sit there and put up this smile. Even if you don't even think, just smile when you wake up and thank God that you're here for another day.
Yeah.
And what can you do to make a difference? And then I'll just lay in the bed and go over like, God, I'm so grateful for my kids. I'm grateful for a wife that loves me. I'm grateful for my business succeeding. I'm grateful for friends. I'm grateful for my health, for my kids' health. It's so easy to get caught up in everything. And then, if you see, we take for granted stuff all the time.
Yep.
You get on Facebook and I'll see a mother with 4 kids who's battling stage 4 cancer. And it really puts you in a state of like, damn, I really have it good and I really need to give thanks for it. That's helped. Planning, journaling helps. Plan your day out. Even if you do it once a week on a Sunday, try to plan your day out, write it out. Get past the fact that being a man, you're not supposed to have emotions.
Dude.
Be proud you have emotions.
Right. And no, by the way, you have them. You're a human.
You have them. You're not a little bitch.
Right.
for having emotions or getting emotional at things. I mean, I'll be the first one to say, hey, I deal with it. I have emotions at times. Write them down. Journal about it. Write about it.
Yeah.
Talk to your spouse about it. Talk to someone you trust about it. It's okay. It's okay to have to go through things, struggle with things, but doing things that put you in the right mindset, like we talked about, gratitude, journaling. A lot of times me and my wife will get up in the morning and we'll meditate. We'll have tea and we'll sit on our deck and do yoga, or just like burn sage and meditate and do things like that. And
awesome.
And it makes a world of difference for your whole day. The trajectory of your day is completely changed.
So the last issue of my newsletter that I released was about really the only saying that I've been able to consistently, like for about a decade now, consistently like go back to and live by. Like everything else, my mind about it sort of changes. But this one saying, which is mood follows action, because it just anchors me around the fact that like I can do something about how I'm feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't have to be underneath my feeling. I can do something about my mood. And man, mood is a big deal, man. You know what I mean? Like
it's a huge deal.
It's a huge deal. Like just thinking about how much your mood affects the way you see the world, the way you engage with the world, right? What you put out into the world. How much of that is impacted by your mood? And then just the idea that your mood is not just something that is set upon you, right? You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes external things can impact your mood, but you have agency and you have power to take an action like smile in the morning, right? Do deep breaths, burn sage, yoga, whatever it is, journal. But that action is going to drive your mood.
Absolutely.
Right? Which then is going to have just this total impact on the way you're going to show up in the world, right? Which is huge, man. Which is huge. I've been I've just been really meditating on, and I don't mean like quietly and Zen, but more like just thinking. I've just been thinking a lot about I've been calling mind body, but you said brain body, and I like that because I've been I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking about brain body connection and doing things like I've been messing around with some hand-eye coordination stuff here recently. I got a friend who's a great juggler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, look, as adults, we don't do anything that requires hand-eye coordination anymore.
No.
Ever. I didn't even realize that until I just got my black belt in Hapkido, and so what my grandmaster is teaching me now is how to do stuff with the bow staff.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm so clumsy with it. You know what I mean? Like spinning this thing around, I'm like, shit. I used to probably be good at something like this. You know what I mean? When I was like 10, 11, 12, 13, when I was swinging a baseball bat around all the time and like playing stickball and handball, like all that stuff that I did as a kid that I got really good at. And like now,
you're like,
I'd be awful at it, right? But like those things, those things they light up different parts of your brain. Right. And we're just, I get this sense that we're embarking on this new age of really understanding, because before we just saw it as necessary, all the things we did in labor and, but now in this age of so much technology and like, we're getting so out of our bodies that like, it's going to be this age of really understanding that the body is your pathway to the brain. The body is your pathway to mental and emotional health. Like that's how you get there.
And I think a lot of issues today, and I'm not a psychologist or a doctor by any means, but I think the whole disconnect from ourselves and from society, from technology, has caused a whole lot of issues for a whole lot of people,
man.
Especially mental issues. I mean, I've noticed myself, which, I'm on a laptop or a phone all the time. But I've noticed when I like cut those off and take time for myself and mental health and just don't do anything and just breathe, for an hour, it's like, damn, I feel like a human again.
There's a physiological thing going on there, right?
There is.
And I'm not like an anti-tech person. I mean, I've basically built my career on tech, right?
Yeah, I mean, so, it's amazing.
It's amazing as a tool, no question, right? But you're right, man. Like, I just think we're gonna mess up if we're not willing to acknowledge that there's some causation going on there, right? Between the way that we're using the technology and all of these health issues that we're seeing. Like not connecting those dots is not going to help anybody.
I think a real good piece of advice too, and if someone can correct it if they hear this and it's wrong, but there's a guy I listen to. He's a psychologist. You may have heard him. His name is Dr. Joe Dispenza. And
I feel like I've heard of him.
He's real big on mind-body connection and stuff. And he talks about
I need to look into him.
How you're not your brain, like your mind is your brain. Like you have control. Your brain doesn't have control over you. And he talks a lot about mood and action and how to
really
change. Yeah.
Oh, I need to read this guy.
Yeah, how to change trajectory of things, and goes a lot into self-healing, and I love his work. He's real super science-based.
Awesome.
He's not pseudoscience.
Yeah,
like a lot of people.
No.
But one of the things that he says that you need to do, he's like, when you get up in the morning, he's like, put the fucking phone down. He's like, take 30 minutes. He's like, don't immediately wake up and start checking emails and doing this, because you're immediately putting your brain into a sense of like, urgency, boom, boom, boom. You have to do this, have to do that. He's like, and you're going to spend all day in that mindset. He's like, just breathe or meditate. And once you start doing that, you'll see a difference within a few days.
I need to start doing that. Just keeping it real. I need to start doing that.
Yeah. Or trying to go to bed and being on your phone constantly.
I've gotten a lot better about that. I've gotten a ton better about the going to sleep stuff. And it has helped the quality of my sleep. Okay, so actually, let's just segue into this, but I want to talk more about this guy, Dr. Dispenza. Dispenza? Okay. So here's a big thing I realized in the last week is, like an interesting thing happens when you stop drinking for a significant period of time. You learn you can get a hangover from things other than alcohol.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
You can get a hangover from food. You can get a headache from food. You can get a hangover from not getting the right amount of sleep. Right? Like all these, you can get a hangover from not being active and not processing emotions.
Yep.
Like there's other things that can cause that same feeling.
Absolutely.
Man, the big one for me recently has been sleep. Has been like a real recognition that like I have got to get 7.5 hours of sleep a night, and that's actually not that easy for me because I really like to be up until 10:30, 11.
Yeah.
And I like to wake up at 5:30, right? And so you can do the math, and you can see that doesn't quite work, right?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, and I'll have times too, like during the day if my day's extremely busy.
Yeah.
And I'm just so wound up from the day, it's like I'm extremely exhausted, but I can't go to sleep.
But you can't go to sleep.
Or if I do go to sleep, I'm up 2, 3, 4 times a night,
dude.
And I was dealing with that for about 3 weeks straight, up until about a week ago, and man, I was just like mad.
Yeah, yeah, and it creeps up on you, right? Because it
does.
builds over days,
and
you're not tracking it.
And then your wife will be like, "What the hell's wrong?
What's wrong with you?
Why are you being an ass?"
Right.
But it's the truth, and that's kind of the things that we're talking about, external factors too, your mood, things like that, and it can be things that can be out of your control at times. But if you're blatantly staying up, and,
right,
not sleeping, then when you get in those certain mood patterns, just like the way I was, and it's like I know this stuff, but sometimes you still fall into that trap.
Yes.
And I think it's because you've been programmed to do it for so long.
And society,
Yeah.
there's, oh man, this has really been the most heartbreaking part of this journey for me, of really making this commitment to get healthy, and I'll just define what I mean there, right? Nutrition, water intake, sleep, not self-medicating, going to therapy, exercise, recovery, and then meditation slash spiritual life. So like
Yep.
that's my realm of what I'm looking at, and then probably also like firing up the brain with different different activities that I would not normally do. That's probably the thing I've added in the last couple of weeks, right? What, Austin? This is the sad thing, man. This is the sad thing. Man, society's going in the other direction.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're friends, and we can have like a really good conversation about this.
Yeah.
But dude, talking about this with people, it's like I got two heads. You know what I mean? It's like I got two heads. This is not a socially acceptable conversation to be having.
No.
It's over the top. It's obsessive. You know what I mean? Like this is not, and you wonder why all of the trends are going the way they're going, right? Chronic disease, obesity, life expectancy, like all this shit that's happening that we're just like, nah, this is cool. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Nah.
Yeah, until it happens to you.
I'm just like, yeah, it really feels like that movie. It's like Idiocracy, and then also Wall-E, Wall-E, where they were just like sitting on the spaceship, just like slurping the thing, and just like becoming like gelatin. You know what I mean? I mean, it's, dude, it's so. It's the most heartbreaking part of it. Is the more I go in this direction, the more I'm like, oh man, dude, this is the whole deal, and it's so hard to talk about because people have shame associated with it. People have been, have created identities around all this self-defeating behavior. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just heartbreaking, man.
I have friends and even some family members that are just so stuck, or just random people. Man. They're so stuck in more of like a victim mentality where like everything that is wrong with everything is somebody else's fault. And it's like, well, what are you doing? Well, I mean, what can you do in your life to change that? What's one thing you can start today to change all the other shit? that you feel that's wrong in your life. Like, and it doesn't matter if it's this person, that person, or who's like senator or who's president. It's like, what can you do for yourself? Like, let's.
There's an innovator in the healthcare space. I hope I don't butcher his name. I think his name is Rashika Fernandopoul, and he's an MD, generalist, and he founded a business called Iora Health, and it's basically like radical primary care. Okay. Like radical. Okay, like the idea that if you do primary care right, you fix 90% of the issues, right? And the reason why everything is screwed up right now is because primary care is like real bad.
It's a pill.
Real bad, right? And so it's pretty cool. It's the expense is front loaded, right? Because like people are such a mess that like you have to invest in them on the front end. I'm going to get to the point that what you said triggered. And I I'm listening, and like it all made sense, everything that he was saying, and then he what he said was the turning point is really when we build up people to have an adequate level of self-efficacy, right? And that means that the healthcare system actually cannot fix people, but if the healthcare industry can actually convince people that they care about their health and that their health is worth caring about, and they can get the person to care about their health and think that they can do something about it, which is the self-efficacy piece, right? Because let's break this down, like what we're talking about. Why is it people aren't taking the actions? The answer is they don't think they can.
Absolutely.
They do not have a belief that they can do anything about it. And I hadn't even heard that term. So like he said it, and I immediately like went to Google and I was like, what the fuck is self-efficacy? Because like that's whatever he said there, that's the thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's the thing. You know what I mean? Like that's what it's the most important thing in my life is my belief in my ability to accomplish things for my benefit. It's half the momentum I need in order to get anything done.
Isn't it sad though? Like as adults, like as we forget that. It's like what happens to that? Because as children, we believe we can do anything. Like
some children. Some children are not.
Well, some children are not.
Some children are not properly infused with that belief, right? You know what I mean? Which is a travesty, right? Our education system is failing miserably because all too often we're not infusing self-efficacy into children.
2-hour podcast.
Right. But all these systems, I mean, this is the thing, man. It's like all these systems are so interconnected, right? And having just wrapped up, raising children, and what I mean by that is you're never done. But like my youngest son just turned 18, right? So I've now got but according to society, I've got 2 adult sons. Biologically, I don't know if that's really true, but according to society,
it's usually not.
It's usually not. But according to society, I've got 2. According to the law, I've got 2 adult children, 2 adult young men, right? Having just finished that gauntlet of parenthood, I think you just become. There's so much reflection in that, and there's so much necessary commentary about the world that you get through that experience. I mean, look, like just to bring it full circle back to your product and your business, and the fact that you infused a healthcare experience that you had with your daughter into your business. Like every time someone has a NutriFitt shake, they are the beneficiary of your experience as a parent, right?
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, so there's just such a school there, and man, isn't it all just interconnected, right?
It is. It's amazing, and you have to really stop and, like you said, think about things like that. And I think we don't do that enough in this society. We don't stop to think enough. We let our phones think for us, or other people think for us, more so than anything. instead of actually thinking for ourselves, which is insane. It's insane.
Yes.
It's insane. But, you know, the self-efficacy thing that's really what it.
Had you heard that term before?
I've heard that term before.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
You know, that's kind of that's what I was getting at. I said use a fancy word. I don't want you to have to Google on the show.
I think it's a good word though.
It is.
You know, especially if you're a healthcare person, I think it's a fantastic word because they're always talking about efficacy, right?
Well,
in healthcare.
So many people. It's true. I mean, some people don't believe they can change. They don't believe they can do certain things.
I know.
You know, it's for me. Before I actually had changed the way I was living my life and changed my lifestyle, there was a lot of things that I didn't think that I could do, or I had no power to change, but I have changed them.
Yes.
Because I got back to like, you know, I have that power to do that. Like you have to, somehow we have to find the way to realize that we have that innate power to change our lives.
Yes. Yes.
And it's not, you know, I don't want to go into like, a lot of people will be like, oh, well, I've tried law of attraction stuff. And it's like, well, you just can't sit down there for a day and think
right.
about
Right.
Like,
Right. The problem with that is you're looking for the law to do some shit for you, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it doesn't, like, it's so much
and
more
it goes
inside of you,
and
right?
then again, like you said, that like interconnectedness, it ties back into your actions and your moods. Like,
Yes.
what are you attracting for your mood? Like, if you're in a pissed off mood all day,
Yes.
do you think like you're going to have a lot of awesome experiences? No, you're going to be pissed off. If somebody does something on the road, you're going to be even more pissed off.
Yes.
You're going to be angry.
Yes.
And I mean, and we all get pissed off. Let's just be
Sure.
You know, you have, you know, that's
I was pissed off today.
into emotions.
Yeah.
But when we realize that we can change that by, you know, whatever it takes for us to change it, it might be different for different people, but you really start learning in those moments, regardless of your mood. Because if you're in that mood for a terrible mood for so long, you get into more of a reactive state. So every time something happens, you're reacting, and you need to go back to how can we respond differently instead of react. Because when you start responding to situations instead of reacting, your whole world changes.
Oh, dude, this is incredible. I love it so much. So, man, where's the business right now, man? Where is NutriFitt? What's exciting for you? I just think it's so cool that like I know somebody who is actually formulating a product that I actually use.
And you use it for a while.
It's so cool. How many people get to say that they know the person who makes their protein powder, right? Like it's a pretty cool thing, man. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of people take pride in, you know, knowing the chef at a restaurant, or knowing, you know, like, you know, my friend Bailey Spalding is the brewmaster at Jackalope, and
cool.
you know, yeah. And so like I got to have some of her first test beers and followed the growth of her career, and I'm always so proud of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you know, whenever I have Jackalope, I'm always just like, you know, I know the person who like came up with this, right? Which is so cool. But this is particularly great because like it's like really good for me.
Yeah, and that's so cool. You know, I have some really close friends. Actually, the guy I was telling you that has a podcast, Mark Menard, he's up in Ohio. He was one of the very first persons to buy my protein, and this was before I was even like selling it online or had a website. This was stuff I was making in Tennessee State's lab. And putting it in a container. And shrink wrapping it, and it wasn't even called the same thing. It was like I made the labels on Word, Microsoft Word, because I couldn't afford a Photoshop or any Adobe programs.
I love it.
So you know, there's like 1,800 text boxes on a label, and it was so you know, so slow to move something because it was so the file was so large. So the labels took forever to print, but I have some pictures. I'll show you when.
Man, that's amazing,
on my phone, dude. Of what they look like, and you know, from day one, you know, he's been there, and he's like, it's been awesome to see, you know, because I was talking to him like when I actually had the idea.
Yeah,
like, you know, I have this idea.
Yeah,
you know, you're an entrepreneur, and he's seen where it's been. You know, it's awesome. It's went from that to, you know, just a month ago, me being able to go full time at my company.
Gosh, how long had you been at it before you were able to make that leap, man?
God, man.
I mean,
Well,
this
everything
is what we're
everything was
talking about
you
right
know
now.
everything was. I worked for free from 2013 till this year, so 6 years. So it took 6 years of working for free. Who the hell is willing to do
built
that?
NutriFitt as a side hustle for 6 years.
6 years.
Dude,
Yeah.
people don't understand, man.
No, they don't.
People don't understand.
They don't. They see that you have a
People
business
think-
and they think you have like Ferraris
Dog.
in your garage, and it's just like people have no clue. It's like who else? I want to know who else is
Dog,
willing
I'm so
to.
fucking fired up right now because you just said that. It just makes me so. I'm so proud of you, and it just fires me up for people and their fucking entitlement, dude. It's like nobody owes you shit.
No, nobody owes
Nobody
you.
owes you anything.
Nobody owes you a fucking thing.
Nothing.
And it was.
Love that, man.
There's
Side
not
hustle for
there's
6
not
years,
very
man.
many people who, and I'm 33 now, so I was in my late 20s.
Yeah.
And I'd had some, I've always been entrepreneur minded, and I had a couple businesses that I'd started that had failed, so there was a whole lot of doubt, and those were done for free.
Yep.
I worked for free building those. So jumping into this, it was a big risk. It was a big investment, but it was like, I knew without a shadow of a doubt that this was what I was meant to do, that this was how I was going to leave my mark on the world, how I was going to build my legacy. And I didn't care if it took me 10 fucking years of side hustling and not making a dime on it until I got that win.
Dude.
And it's not just one win. I
I'm
don't
so
look
fired
at
up right now, dude.
success
I'm
as
so fired up right
well,
now.
I made $1 million. I'm successful. It's like I'm always going to be raising the bar, like till my last breath. It's like, and that's what really makes a true business person, an entrepreneur.
Dude, your brand is all over town. Like on Instagram, you got all these athletes, and you did it as a side hustle, and you didn't pay yourself for 6 years.
6 years, yeah. Worked in the construction industry, manual labor. And then it was insane. It was intense.
I really just. That's
I
awesome,
accumulated
man. That's
a lot,
awesome,
a lot
dude.
of gray hair, but it's worth it. My wife thinks it's sexy.
Oh man, dude. Man,
But,
you're a
it's-
beast. It's awesome. It's so great.
It makes it
So great, man.
You take pride in what you do. You take pride in your products. You take pride in that people reach out and say, "Hey, this has changed my life. This has helped me lose weight. This has helped me feel better." Like our protein powder. I don't know if I told you this story. It's something else amazing about it. Another lady who was with us from the start, believed in what I was doing. When I told her the story, how I done it, her husband, he's since passed away. Her name's Anna, and he was going through renal failure. So he was really sick, and he got to the point to where he couldn't eat. So the doctors are wanting him to get some type of protein. They were
Right.
trying to get it from a shake.
No, it's so hard,
And
man.
she
when
said,
your body starts breaking down and you can't actually get the nutrients you need.
She said, we've tried like 15, literally over 15 different proteins, and they all make him sick. And I was like, you know what, Anna, let me send you some for him to try. Like, I just want to see if it'll help him.
Yeah.
And I heard from her like a week later. She sent me I believe it was an email with a picture, and it was a long email, and I still have it. And I always told her, I was like, when we get our headquarters, that's going to go up. Like, I ain't putting the first dollar up. I'm putting this picture because it's the first life we changed. Because that's what it's always been about for me, is what can we do to help someone, realize that they're worth more than just a number or more than just a sale, that they're worth feeling better, their health is worth it, that their goals are worth it. This letter, she said, she was just extremely expressing her gratitude. She was like, this is the only thing that Johnny's been able to drink that doesn't make him sick. Like, he loved it. We mixed it with fruit, and he's wanted 3 of them. I have to hide the protein jug from him. she's like, after a week of him, having a smoothie in the morning with the fruits and the protein, she's like, he's up walking around like I have my husband back.
Wow, man.
And I was just like, I read that and I cried,
Wow,
and
dude.
that was before that was like a year before I even officially had launched the company. I was still in school and still, making, you know, like 3 or 4 tubs at a time, you know, with a little vat at the lab. And there's a picture of him, you know, standing up, holding it, smiling. And it's just like, damn, you know, this is what I have to do.
Amazing, man.
So
amazing story. You know, I'm really glad to have had this hour and get to know you a little bit better, and we'll keep on staying in touch, man. I'm a customer and a supporter and a fan, and you know, I'm just I mean, I was happy for you, but now I'm like really proud of you, man. You know, it's just good work. Good work, brother. All right, man.
All right.
Thanks for being here. And until next time, we'll see you. Peace.